After we finish this conversation and grab some lunch, we're going to mingle. You'll watch us, but listen to the podcast we did with Carol Waddell. And this is a wonderful production because it's amazing that we still have today a lot of conversation about Hurricane Katrina and still a lot of conversation about people who are still trying to get home to New Orleans, you know, who have set up life somewhere else. She took us inside it, but you guys were privy to all of that, so tell us about working on Swimming Upstream.
Well, first of all, personally, I'm not. I'm in all of your positions. I'll see it for the first time next week. So.
I think it's gonna be awesome. What she did tell me is that it's kind of came out of the sense of the vagina monologues, right. And they've taken the stories and put it of women who survived before, during, and after Hurricane Katrina. And the wonderful thing about it is we're going to get to see Felicia Rashad on stage in Atlanta with Jasmine Guy, Kerry Washington, and not always the last Shirley Knight, because I want to call her by the singer's name, but Shirley Knight, as well as some of the women from New Orleans.
Yeah, no, I mean, I certainly know about the project and was with Kenny as he was developing. First of all, it's an exciting opportunity for Atlanta. I mean, yes, it's about Katrina, yes, it's about what happened, but it's also about these women's relationship to America. So this story was just, I mean, everything that's underneath, Katrina was a catalyst, but everything that they were feeling was already happening. And this event sort of exposed it. So this was, yeah. So it was already there. So this is an American story, and it's also, what's exciting about it, Atlanta has the first opportunity to look at it, what is going to go on as a national project. I mean, this is Eve Ensler who made us all say vagina. Like, people say the word. It's like, that never fell out of my lips until it was all over. It makes something. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the piece, it's a great piece of women, of empowerment, and her work is, I mean, she's an incredible social activist, and for her to, handpick Kenny, she reached out to Kenny. I mean, Kenny didn't have a relationship with her, and she said, I'm working with these women in New Orleans, and she was gathering stories from women in the community, and they were writing poems and songs, and then she collected them, much like she collected the monologues for the vagina monologues, and she began to edit, but then she decided what makes this different is she wanted to showcase some of the actual women from that project. So some of the women coming were from this original workshop, and then added on will be actors like Felicia and Kerry Washington and Shirley Knight.
One of the things I love that Carol said this morning was that it gave them an opportunity to look back at their bravery.
Yeah.
That they had survived it.
It's so empowering to the women that wrote it, and it's so honest about what was going on in that situation and what's still going on in that city. And it is important for Atlanta to get this show. One, just because it is going to be a national, springboard into the national showcase. But there's over 100,000 Katrina refugees that relocated to Atlanta. That is more than 20% of the pre-Katrina population of New Orleans. Wow. So, I mean, I had moved from New Orleans right before Katrina, before the storm hit, and it is. Atlanta's a wonderful city. I mean, it is welcoming. It's probably the closest thing, to a city like New Orleans that the U.S. has. So I think people have been able to find a home here and feel that neighborhood. But this is such an empowering story. It's beautiful. It's funny. I mean, it is. But it just shows the resiliency of not just these women, but it's human nature. It's absolutely.
And that's the thing that Carol said, and it's like even I had to think about it. It's like you had to really look at one of the things they are going to celebrate. I think she said in the piece is the people who did come to the rescue. And it's just a time to really talk about what they were going through before. Because as a tourist, you go to New Orleans, you hit the French quarters, and you go home. You don't think about that this is still a city. And I'm sure people even see that when they come to Atlanta. You get to enjoy the culture of the city and then you're out. But then to know that all of this was a possibility, that there was a possibility that this was going to happen, and this was just, catastrophic thing was going to take place in New Orleans, a place that everybody loved. And you didn't think about the lives of people there. And even afterwards, you think that, okay, surely by now everybody's on their feet.
It's such a different place now.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying that the whole flavor of the city is a little bit different now. So I'm so glad that we get a chance to see it. Make sure you guys take one of these and tell everybody. And one of the things, like I said, we are taking one of our viewers and our readers, if they answer the question, the trivia question that we have on the site, that Kenny said that film is art, theater is life, and TV. I'm giving the answer. Stop. I wanted about that. But like I said, I don't know where we are on time. But anything else you want to add? Now this is the gala, and Atlanta. Let me just tell you guys this about Atlanta. I'm gonna need y'all to get on the red carpet tip real quick, okay? And know that because True Colors and a number of the theaters oftentimes will have a red carpet event, and I usually go on the site and I say red carpet alert. But we don't understand because it's not Hollywood. It's not. There will be some paparazzi when I do photography here, but good paparazzi. Okay? I need everybody to get on it because you can't imagine the number of people that you get a chance to meet at the theater. Not just the people that are on the stage, but especially the people that will come to an open night and really support. These are the people who mostly support our theaters. So, but when you hear, that there's an event like this, you just never know who you're going to meet. So if you hear that there's a red carpet, go and watch and just support them because it's an awesome production. I cannot wait to see this and I want you to listen to the podcast of Carol, because Carol said some wonderful things about taking a look back at the lives of the women who went through this and the things that we have not, you believe it or not, there's a lot that we have not thought about. And somebody is still dealing with the effects of Katrina, some years later. We think about, I remember 9/11 this year. Everybody's like, why don't we, take a half day off or take a day off and do something? Why aren't we memorializing 9/11 a little bit more? Same way with Katrina. Mm-hmm. That date is coming and going. But people are still trying to put their lives back together. And this production, to be able to start it here in Atlanta, I know they did it in the Dome. Oh, and you have to hear her explain or talk about when they did it. They did it in the Dome before, like 5,000 people. Right. That was 35,000 people. It was to them. It was almost like cleansing the Dome. Reclaiming it. That's awesome. That is awesome. So I'm so glad that you guys chose this. Now, how does True Colors decide on your season?
Well, I'm going to sort of answer that. One of the great functions and purpose of theater, why do theater, why is it important, is that we really, one of the functions we serve in a culture and in Atlanta is to combat historical amnesia, which is what you just laid out. The way that I recall, I was living in the New York City area during 9/11, and shortly after 9/11, every day I would pass through the Lincoln Tunnels on the bus, and there would be a large banner that said, an American flag that says, "We will never forget." And I remember one day in December, on December 6th, listening about the last day we would never forget, which was the attack on Pearl Harbor, which I had forgotten. I didn't know it was there. So I went through the tunnel, and as months passed, as years passed, at one time, I don't know exactly what happened, but then the sign got smaller, then they had a smaller sign, and now today if you drive through the Lincoln Tunnel, it's a Gap ad, so it's like, and that to me is a metaphor for the way we shrink and the way we go, because we're in an environment where our whole news environment, first of all, it's not news, it's entertainment. That's what nobody understands, it's entertainment. All of this stuff is just, they're false conjurers of hype and enthusiasm.
Did you hear them say the worst? And whenever they say, this was the worst that happened.
They're all major.
And you think about it, but wait, I went through this. I thought it was the worst. I thought that was the worst. And you hear that often.
And also, who can stand the dissonance? This is the thing I used to, as a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch the news. Because I watched the news, I'd start to scream and yell afterwards, and my mother never understood why. And what it was, because I still feel this way today, is when I sit down and on the news they say, mother of 4 shot and killed in drive-by shooting, and tomorrow weather sure looks good. And it's like, how can you? You get into that, and then you become numb, and then you become. So the theater, we stand as a testament and responsibility to truth, whether it's truth of human nature, whether it's truth to politics, whether it's truth to society. So in picking a season, we try to serve many different interests, and we try to compose a season of variety. So it's not all one thing. So